I don't know. I don't have any stress. I usually cough at other people.
You have to laugh. You have to have a good time. So, in recognition of Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Welcome this night. Thanksgiving is in a couple of nights, and I hope everybody has good, safe plans. I understand there was some sort of accident on the road, and what are you laughing at? That's the idea. I'm laughing. There was an accident on the road, so some people will be walking in a few minutes late, and for those that do, that need to get adjusted, we will adjust them afterwards. Having said that, this time of season, we actually have 2 stress classes. I'm doing one tonight, and Dr. Jenner's doing one next week. And this time of season, is there a lot of stress that comes about? Absolutely. Steve said he causes it for other people. But a lot of people this time of year, there's unwarranted stress that they really place upon themselves, and they start thinking about things, they start doing things. And ultimately, when we're here at the chiropractor's office, and what we're looking at is we're actually looking at stress on the neurology and the nerve system and how your body handles or adapts to those particular types of things that are going on. Can pain be associated with that? Yeah, sometimes. But in most cases, we're looking at the actual functionality of the body and how your body is going in a process, because it's always a process. Welcome back. You're home from college. She's like, I just stressed her out because I pointed her out. But it's good to see everybody here and understanding that. A lot of the people that come in, as these workshops grow and ebb and tide, more and more people are saying that, oh, okay, there's more to it than just getting adjusted. There's more to it than just eating healthy. There's more to it than just exercise. It's a combination of all those things. Okay, and stress is a huge factor that we have to understand, and why it causes those problems or those things that are going on. There are different types of stress. I don't go too much into it in this workshop, but there's a Hans Selye's general adaptation of stress, and that particular understanding is that there are some stresses that are good for us. Okay, so gravity, yes, can be a degenerative force on our body and a physical stress on our body. But when we're growing and when we're developing, it actually be a good stress for us, because it helps to build the muscles and the structure and the curves in the body. So there are some good stresses. Hans Selye goes through stages where there's that particular good stress at the beginning, then there's an alarm stage, and then there's a stage where the body just sort of breaks down. Okay, there's much more specifics to it, and if you want to look up his name is Selye. He actually came out with this stuff in the 50s, but I actually have a stress class geared towards just that. So I'll leave that up there if anybody's interested. And speaking of which, did everybody sign in? No. Okay. I'm gonna pass this around. Oh, as the pen drops on the floor. Thank you, Robin. I'm just trying to explain to you some of the normalcies of what stresses may or may not be there. Now, a cell or an organism cannot be in defense and growth at the same time. Okay? Because if it's defending against something, it usually is using something from its body to help defend itself. Okay, so it's not able to actually grow. It's not actually able to grow or have a good positive input on it. So you just keep those thoughts in your mind. And in having said that, that's what we're really concerned about here as chiropractors, is your growth. Okay, and we're trying to remove those stresses that are placed on your bodies and help you understand what you may or may not do. So why did I come in with the hat? Because it's funny. And you know what? And isn't laughter a great thing? It is. It's a great thing because it helps to relieve the stress. And have you ever heard the laughter of a child, that really deep belly laugh? You know it's coming from a deep, deep place. It makes everyone, you're like, oh my God. It's like it's like pure laughter, and it just makes you feel good. You know, so those are the things that we look at. So having said that, let's begin. The name of the class, like I said, is Stress, Adapt, or Perish. Okay? What is it? It's basically a state of physiological or psychological strain caused by adverse stimuli, physical, mental, or emotional, internal or external, that tend to disturb the function of an organism and which the organism naturally desires to avoid. So if this is the bad form of stress in your body. Your body doesn't want this stress. It's trying to avoid what it is. So there are actual things that you can put into your body. This is not caffeinated, but I like caffeine. Caffeine is my friend. I like to drink coffee. Okay, I don't drink caffeine in any other form but coffee. And teas, and some teas. This is a decaffeinated tea, but your bodies will actually, some of the cells will actually, you know, shrink away if you look at it from the caffeine, or they will actually start to, you know, you won't be able to absorb certain nutrients, like calcium, or it'll affect your thyroid. You know, you have to really understand how it affects basal metabolic rate. But the body doesn't want that. It wants things that are good for you. It wants things that, and the last week when we did our supplementation class, we were talking about how there are certain foods that we absolutely have to have in our body that are good for us, that help to build up. And you know, those are the things that if you have questions about in the future, look at the workshops and ask us and set up times to talk about that stuff, because that's more advanced information that we're looking at. But ultimately, the system, or whatever the organism is, it's trying to avoid whatever that stress is. Okay, it's trying to get away from it, and it's trying to somehow deal with it. Question is, how stressed are you? Are these some of the things that happen to us this time of year, or all time of year? How often do they happen to you? Okay, and the stress doesn't have to be just an emotional type of thing. It can be physical. You know, I started changing some of the foods that I was eating over the last 3 days, and my stomach is in a little bit of gastric distress. I have some distress going on in here. It's nothing major. It's nothing major. It's something that I know that when I'm drinking the teas and stuff, that it'll calm down. And I've done this before, so it's sort of cleansing out my body. I'm not doing a full cleanse, but I understand some of the foods that I was eating I had to just change. So looking at that, that's a physical stress. That's a chemical stress that's going on in the body. Hey, Mark, have a seat. So those are the things that we're looking at. But these are, you know, things like changing jobs, losing jobs, things like physically training for something and not getting the rest you need and letting your body recuperate. These are stresses that come up. This time of year, a lot of people worry about what at this time of year? What's happening on Friday? Oh my God! It's like people go insane. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like they're opening up Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Dude, I'm gonna be with my family. I'm not going shopping for some stupid deal, okay, that I can get on the computer or get somewhere else. Okay, you know, let's balance our lives here. Let's really, really look at these things. These things place, but people freak themselves out. There's a great commercial on TV where a guy, what is it? It's a car commercial, and the guy comes up and he's got these boxes of gifts in his hands, and he's got bruises on his body and things of that nature. And his neighbor is, you know, standing there. It's like, where were you? He goes, Black Friday. I got some great deals. I saved hundreds of dollars. I saved thousands, and they point to the car, you know, and he had no stress. So, you know, so the thing is, but it's people really, really put themselves into this really, really sympathetic overload stress, like, you know, fight or flight type thing. And you know, coming from New York City, I used to see it. People were like pushing each other. They couldn't get toys and gifts, and I was like, you're out of your minds. There's a great. Does anybody remember Sinbad? Is anybody old enough to remember Sinbad? a movie, I think it's called Jingle Bell or something like that, where they're trying to get this one toy and he's fighting with another guy to get the toy. And it's so classically what you may see out there with people trying to get the toy. Oh my God, I gotta get the toy. And they're forgetting, you know what? What's the balance? What are the holidays really about? What are they really about?
It's supposed to be about joy.
It's supposed to be
Not
about
stress.
not about stress, right? It's supposed to be about our families and being with although some of our families stress us out. But the thing is, but it's supposed to be around the people, that you're looking at. So these are things that are common, okay, that we have, and these are things that are supposed to be normal. Oops, go back. Headaches are not normal. Who has ever said, I don't know if it's just a normal headache that I get? Yeah, they're not normal, okay? It's like someone saying arthritis is normal. It's not, it's common, okay? Low back pain is not normal. Common, but not normal. And it depends on what you've done to your body. Stomach pains, not normal. Common. I'm not having that. No, it's, so where, the question is, where is the problem coming from? Where is the stressor? Okay. So sports injuries, that's a common one. We see a lot of that stuff. And what is the common reaction to sports injuries? What do athletes want to do? Play through the pain. Right? They want to either play through the pain, or they're like, they don't care what it takes to get me back out on the field. Right? What does it do to their body? It usually makes it worse. And what do they sometimes do in order to get you back out on the field? Cortisone. Or some sort of lidocaine shot or painkiller of some sort. Okay, you know what? You're actually causing later damage. And you look at the football players now with all the stuff that's going on. The later damage that happens, a lot of them can't even walk. I mean, there's a guy that I listen to on the radio, his name is Mark Schlereth. He was an offensive tackle. And he's had like 27 surgeries. It's insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane. But you know what? Being an athlete and trying to get in shape for triathlons, I understand injuries. But I used to do deadlifting and squatting and stupid things like that, and I had many injuries. Okay, and and I was just like, oh, I can get through this. And I'm the typical guy, macho dude. Yeah, I can do this. But you know what? It's not just the guys. The girls do. I see the girls do it, and it's much worse. Okay, because they have a higher tolerance for pain than the guys do. Okay, and it's very important to understand. So one of the falls, car accidents, a slight bump of 5 miles an hour can kinetically change everything in your body and whip your head enough to give you whiplash. Most people don't understand that. Okay, people are like, oh, I'm fine. Then all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, they start having headaches and things are coming about. And they're like, where did this come from? Why am I having discomfort? Because we don't address it right away, and when we take the medication, the stuff goes away, and we're not addressing the problems. Gravity is a stressor. It can be good or bad. As we get older, it's bad because it's constantly pushing down on us and causing problems when you have subluxations or misalignments. Medications, our bodies, if you look at a lot of research, and the easiest way to put it is this. If you're not taking any medications, is everything okay, Rebecca?
Yeah, I just can hear them.
Oh, okay. I can't hear the children. I gotta check. So the thing is, medications. A lot of the times, I look at it this way: would you give a healthy person an aspirin or a Tylenol?
Some parts of the medical community want to do that.
You're right, and some people want to do that, but the thing is, is that really how your body heals? No, and the question is, what is healthy? That's the other question. But although I think Dr. Jenna was pointing out a study, or was it what was it, the CDC?
No, the FDA is now reversing their opinion on healthy people taking aspirin every single day to prevent.
Okay,
it, yeah.
it was like, oh, you got to take it to help avoid, heart attacks and stuff like that. No, it's thinning your blood. You can eat certain foods and things of that nature that, if you eat them, will keep you healthy and keep your blood thin enough and not coagulate and things of that nature. So those are the things, and then emotional stresses. This is a big one, especially this time of year. A lot of people have. I had I've had several family members pass around this time of year between August and December, and you know, and it brings back memories and it brings back stuff. And those emotional stressors, usually they do take an effect. But I usually, you know, but I don't fade away from them. I start drawing, or I do something that is positive for my mind to make sure that I can get it out of the way. So you have to sort of distract your mind with good things, like maybe some physical exercise, or a mental exercise of some sort, like drawing or reading, or something that helps to keep your mind not off of it, but actually stimulates your mind to bring about good chemicals that are coming about in the body. So you have to look at a lot of those things. These are the things. How many of you know people that have a lot of this stuff? These are the reactions to this stuff. You know, I mean, these are the problems that come about. We have, interestingly enough, we have someone that was coming in and they were having a lot of pain in their mid area here, and they went to their doctor and they got really angry at the doctor because the medical doctor, they walked in and all they did was say, oh, you got an ulcer, here, take this medication. And they're like, how do you know I have an ulcer? You know, and I had been palpating and feeling that area, and it felt like something was wrong with the gallbladder duct. There's a duct that joins, a common biliary duct that joins pancreas and things. And sure enough, she ended up going to the hospital, and I said, it's your gallbladder. You know, so now it's for the last like 5-6 days, she changed the way she was eating. She's been doing some cleansing stuff, and she feels better, and she hasn't been having the attacks. So, you know, the thing is, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do naturally, or without having to resort to the medications, which are a chemical concoction. It's a chemical cocktail. Oh, there it is, Hanselier. I have the, like I said, I have the bigger class. Syndrome defined by Hanselier to include all non-specific systemic reactions of the body to prolonged exposure to systemic stress. 3 stages in the reaction: the alarm reaction, resistance, and exhaustion. Exhaustion is when your body just fatigues enough that you can't do anything anymore. Okay. Exhaustion is when you start getting diabetes because the islets of Langerhans of the pancreas aren't producing enough insulin anymore. Okay. The exhaustion is when your intestinal system doesn't have the proper bacteria to be able to absorb the foods that you're eating and digest properly. Exhaustion is, okay, you're not taking deep breaths and stimulating the activity of breathing, and your body it doesn't have the cardiovascular pumping. That's exhaustion. It's not exhaustion like, okay, I'm fatigued, although fatigue comes about from a lot of this stuff. So acting or reacting to stress is your choice. Okay? This is a big thing to understand, because a lot of the times people, when the reaction to stress is a learned trait in your body. Throughout your life, your family story, the way you're taught, the way the things that you're told and the things that you do, your body keeps all those memories in there. Okay, and when someone speaks to you, you respond to that in a certain way. Guess what? There's memories in there that helps you deal and cope with those things too. So if for example, when my father died in August of 2006, it was really stressful for me. And like I said, what I did was I went to drawing and speaking with my wife about it, and, you know, talking to family, and really enjoying and embracing the good things about my dad. Having, you know, talking with my daughters, they were drawing pictures of my father going up to heaven and angels and things of that nature. And I had a friend whose father was about the same age, he was the same age as I was, whose father died, and he didn't have that support. He didn't have those outlets, and started taking medications. And sure enough, later on, he couldn't get off the medications, and he had to go through rehab. Okay, so the thing that goes on there is, what was his choice? He didn't reach out to anybody. And men are more introverted in that sense, that they don't reach out to community and support from other people. Women are more likely to reach out to other women in most cases, okay, to do that. I'm not being chauvinistic, I'm just being realistic, okay, because we think differently. Okay, but the thing is, the truth of the matter is, it's a choice on the way. You can fall into that deep dark hole, and do those things and take the medications, and you know what, for some people, you know what, it helps them somehow or another. But the thing is, once you're done, you gotta get off of it. Okay, but what happens is it changes the chemistry of your body, and you don't know how it's changing the chemistry of your body. It's just like children taking Ritalin, they don't know what it does to their brain in the long run. Okay, so the thing is, these are things that we have to look at. A consistent absence of stress. Is stress a problem? Connective tissue atrophy, architectural disorganization, fibrosis, adhesions, contraction. This is the good type of stress that we're talking about for helping build muscular bone and things of that nature in tissue. Because if you have an absence of stress or exercise, okay, which is stress on your body, you start to get tissue atrophy. You start to get architectural disorganization. The muscles and bones don't, the ligaments don't line up properly. Okay, the things that are going on there. Fibrosis is scar tissue. It's adhesions, those things where when you go get a massage and they start digging in on those points where they're really solid, those adhesions are formed because you're not getting enough activity and blood flow into the area. So it's important to oxygenate everything. So if you all can just appease me for a second, everybody just sit up straight, uncross your arms. Put your hands just on your knees. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. And then let it all the way out. One more time. And one more time. And then slowly open your eyes and come back. Whenever you're stressed out, take 3 deep breaths. Because if you ever find when you're stressed out, what do you usually do? You're breathing really hard and heavy, and it's not from exertion. Okay, and what happens is because your body is wanting oxygen, it's lacking oxygen. You need to eat crazy. Okay, and if we feed it the oxygen, and if your body's not anoxic or without oxygen, it's going to be doing the right thing. And now she's yawning. You're going to spread that throughout.
I exercised this morning and yesterday. I was off.
Well, I believe sometimes we don't get the warning signs before it's too late. You have to be aware of things that are going on because you know, what are some warning signs of stress? Name the things that we pointed out before. They're warning signs. They're telling you you have to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. Okay, it's just not possible. It drives me crazy. People, oh yeah, you know, like my brother is like, oh yeah, I'll just keep eating my burgers, and if something happens, I'll just take a drug. I'm like, I don't want to kill you, you know, because I love him. He's my brother. He's 7 years older, but it's just like Al, you can do it without changing, you know, without having to take the medications, you know. But again, his stress was extremely high. He served as a sergeant on the NYPD. He was there at 9/11. So his stress levels were through the roof. Okay, and that stress level builds up cholesterol in your system, it builds up blood sugar, it builds up all that stuff. Cortisol just wreaks havoc on your body. And those are the things that you have to look at. So you have to know what your options are. Choosing different behaviors is the key. Okay, and this is the process because we are habitual creatures. These are the things that we've learned throughout our lives, and these are the things that we continue to do and say, oh, I'm going to change something, but you don't change. Okay? Quitting smoking cut the risk of myocardial infarction by 50%. Diet and exercise also reduced the risk of myocardial infarction, which is heart attack, by 50%. Patients who continued to smoke and did not adhere to diet and exercise regimens were 3.8 times more likely to suffer myocardial infarction, stroke, or death within 6 months than non-smokers with modified diet and exercises. It's insane how much you can change things just by changing your habits. Smoking is a chemical put into your body, and you know what? More and more, they're not allowing it anywhere now because it's just horrible. So we look at our hierarchy of needs. I've talked about this, but I've never had it up here on the screen. What's down here? Does anybody remember? What's the first thing? What do we need to help support our bodies? Food. Right. Okay. So nourishment is an important aspect of everything that we need. Okay, why is it important? Exercise is a source of nourishment for physical motion and the neurology of the body. They're just getting water, they're okay. Okay, that's all right. That's all right, it dries. So, we love children in this office. It's okay. So nourishment, as long as they're not peeing and pooping all over the place, we're good. It won't stress me out, trust me. So nourishment is important. There's different types of nourishment. Physical movement, food is the important one. But how long can you go without eating?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, 4 weeks, somewhere in that range. Some people go as many as 6 weeks. I'm sure I could go 6 weeks. I have a lot to eat away. So those are the things that we're looking at. The next one is water. If you remove water completely from your diet, completely, because we actually, I will extract water from this. Okay, but you will extract water from the food you eat, the molecules of that, you'll extract, but if you remove water totally from your diet, how long do you think your body will last?
3 days.
3 days, maybe. Yeah, maybe seven, maybe 7. It depends on the individual, and it depends on their stores, okay? So that was a big thing, like I gave blood the other day. You know what the first thing they always tell you when you give blood? First, make sure you eat before you go, okay? And then, secondly, you have to be hydrated. And if you want to respond well afterwards, you just stay hydrated. And those people that don't stay hydrated, they always have a problem on it, okay? So those are the things that we're looking at. So water is the next one. Oxygen. This is the big one that I was just talking about earlier. We have to make sure that throughout the day we're breathing and taking deep breaths. It's interesting because sometimes I'll have people lying on the table and I'll say, take a deep breath, and I'll you'll laugh. And I'll say, and I'll turn around and I'll say, that's not a deep breath. It's like it's a sigh. That's a sigh. Okay, a deep breath is a full inhalation, fully inflating the lungs and letting everything go. Okay, it comes from the belly, and if you really learn how to, you breathe into your belly, and then you can actually fill your lungs. Okay, it's really, really an important thing. As an asthmatic growing up, I had to learn how to breathe properly. And the breathing techniques that I learned helped me to stave off any problems with it. Now, periodically when I feel sick and stuff, at some of the triathlons that I've done, I've had a couple of asthma attacks, but in 25 years, those are only 2 times. In 5 years, I've had it. Okay, so those are the things. And the last thing is nerve flow. You cannot operate without nerve flow. If the brain and the body are not connected, and the brain and body are not communicating, it doesn't function. Subluxation is a sure way process to slowly diminish the nerve flow and slowly diminish what's going on in your body. It's like a cancer or a heart disease because it slowly, insidiously, slowly starts taking away life force from there. And the thing that nerve is attached to starts to cause a problem. Okay, but if you cut it off, if you cut that nerve, okay, and it's supplying one of the organs of your body, that organ is going to die. Okay, our body has an amazing redundancy. It will try to retract nerves to try to bring it back, but that doesn't always happen. Okay, and it's difficult to understand that because it's not something that we think about on a daily basis. Because you know what? It does it automatically. Okay, so those are the things that you do. All those things that you do that are healthy for your body through here are good for you. But you have to make sure if you want it functioning at a process of 100%, that's what you need to be. This is the beginning of the changes you can make. You can choose now to make those changes. And in doing so, it was funny, there was a young girl here earlier, Courtney, and I called it her Posse. She brought in a whole bunch of friends to hang out and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, the only way we're going to get people educated is by getting them in here and learning how to take this stuff out to the streets and being more aware of it and being around people that are healthy and being around. Some people don't want to. That's okay. If that's their choice. That's their choice. If they don't want to be, Merry Christmas. And on that note, you have the options, let's serve others. Let's make sure that we're letting people know if they want to come in for a check and just get checked, see if we can even help. there's no cost for that, okay? If they wanna come to a workshop, invite them, or if you wanna leave their name and number, we'll call them and, ask them if there's anything that we can send them as information. The most important thing in this office is education. It's more important than anything else you do, okay? Because as the pain goes away, then what do you do? Then how do you take care of it? Right. You go back to old habits
Yeah.
when you don't do it, and those are the things that you don't want. It's a process. Thank you very much for coming. Is it half an hour? And thank you very much for staying. I know it was challenging with the three of them running around, but that's okay. All right, there's people here that'll wrangle them in. Thank you, Dr. Jones. Oh, and by the way.